I am the Markman, and today we're going to unbox and have a little review of McFarlane's Superman, one anti-hero, and the villain of the Man of Steel. And this year, we are celebrating the 85th year of Superman. So are you ready? Then welcome to the Markverse.
Finally, I've been trying to get in touch with you all day.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. My card.
Superman was introduced to the world in 1938. It debuted in Action Comics #1. So this year, we are celebrating the 85th year of the Man of Steel. I have a number of Superman figures from McFarlane that I got more than a year ago, while some are just this year. Actually, this is the year of Superman since McFarlane did a lot of him and other Superman and his villains. And when I say a lot, I really mean a lot. There are over a dozen. Initially, when I heard of the figures, I really wanted to buy them, but when I saw some of their faces, I said, nah, I was disappointed. Like the Superman and Ultraman 2-pack, even if you give this to kids, they know this is not the face of Superman. They might even have nightmares because of this. One of my rules is not to buy out-of-the-box figures, but since I really wanted Ultraman, I might break that rule on this for once, just to buy Ultraman and not Superman. Yes, there was a single-pack Ultraman with the Starro BAF, but it is not a regular offering here in the Philippines, so I'm stuck with the 2-pack. Let's start with the very first Superman. Again, this version debuted in Action Comics #1. This figure is a 2023 release. The cover of the comics is shown here. Now, at first, it seems that this figure is not accurate based on the comics because the figure has blue boots while the comic shows he is wearing red. But it is accurate because when you turn the page, you will see that this is his design. He's wearing the blue boots as well, so no need to buy the platinum version. This was on my wish list before for McFarlane to manufacture. Now I can cross it out. His facial sculpt looks realistic. This is also what I want for my Superman's body sculpt, which should be really bulky. I love how they made the sky blue color striking, hence this will stand out in my Superman collection. The emblem looks cartoonish, which really should be. I always wanted capes to be in a neutral position, but for this, I will make an exemption because I also based this from the comic cover. So we can see this in the card. Next, the Superman Atomic Skull 2-pack, which is also a 2023 release. I like both figures. For Superman, I never got the Silver Age costume type with the neutral face. I got Superman from the Superman Devastator 2-pack, but he has this angry face. So, this Superman is a hit for me. Actually, I was hoping then that McFarlane would still produce this design because this is the Superman design that everybody thinks of. I'm glad they did. I hope he had the body type of DC Rebirth because this is a little undersized for me. Nevertheless, this is still a great figure. The facial and body sculpt and the color, it's all good. No patent issue. I'm also glad his cape is in a neutral position. Here are the comparisons. Superman with the Devastator 2-pack that has a darker blue costume. And the Rebirth version which looks bulkier, but these three are awesome figures. For Atomic Skull, I'm also glad they made him because I wanted more representations of Superman's villains, knowing he is Superman. We only have Lex Luthor, General Zod, Bizarro, Solomon Grundy, Darkseid, which is my very first McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, and Mongol. There's also Steppenwolf, which I did not purchase because I did not like his design and I wanted the comic version. and Calibac, which I'm still waiting for a bigger discount before I will purchase him. I also have Injustice Brainiac, but I will review him in a separate video. This is my first McFarlane figure having this purple shading, so this will stand out in my collection. The costume sculpt of Atomic Skull might look familiar because some of it came from Lex Luthor. These are the comparisons. The power suit, and Superman suit. As seen, there are parts which were taken from these figures. Not all parts, but some. But still, they made Atomic Skull well. He is also a little larger than the other figures. This is again the Superman with him in the 2-pack. And as you can see, Atomic Skull is larger than Superman. The facial details are excellent. It's also nice they put this translucent energy effect on his head and hands, giving him more personality. However, I did some research and I was not able to find the basis of the costume as a whole. I'm talking about the exact costume, but most parts of it at least have a basis. The oldest McFarlane figure I have that is still inside its box is Lobo. I think this is the right time to unbox him because he has a connection to Superman. But since he is an anti-hero, I did not consider him to really be Superman's enemy. As a matter of fact, sometimes he and Superman teamed up. And since this was released 2021, there are concerns about its articulation because during the time, McFarlane has yet to develop that aspect of their figures. For a regular figure, this is heavy. In terms of the design, I love all parts of it. The facial features, the design on his costume, the skull on his belt, these jeans and boots, especially his jacket, which is badass. And also this accessory chain. This is actually one of my favorite DC Multiverse figures. He is also a tall regular figure. So let's compare him. He is even taller than Atomic Skull. By the way, there is an upcoming Lobo with his dog, and his space cycle, the Space Hog. Every part of the set looks awesome. Recently, I also got DC Rebirth Supergirl. When I picked this up from my supplier because of the trust, I did not check it anymore. She looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I saw her nose after I opened this just now. The paint on her nose, I guess, peeled. This would have been a great figure. Focusing on the solution, I'll speak to a friend who knows someone who can fix this. But setting that aside, this is the first McFarlane figure I had that has a cape made of cloth. In fact, I do not know if they really have other figures. Anyway, I hope McFarlane will create more figures that use this kind of capes. I have the Injustice Supergirl, but her cape is plastic. I like the DC Rebirth better. Design-wise, this could have been in my top 10 if not for her nose. This is how I regard this figure. Wait, is this her butt? This is not normal. It looks like a tomato. McFarlane, I'm very disappointed with this part. But for the body symmetry and the color, including that tomato, especially the emblem, they're all very good. Though as typical for McFarlane, they did not follow the design of the DC Rebirth in the comics. The card is accurate but not the figure. This should only be high boots and not tights. This is sad. I will also have a Superman Doomsday 2-pack. I'm really excited for Doomsday, but not for Superman. I already pre-ordered this one. It has already been released in some countries, but here in the Philippines, it has yet to arrive. In connection to Doomsday, when he apparently killed Superman, 4 Supermen rose. Superman Steel, which has an upcoming figure, then Cyborg Superman, which I hope they will manufacture soon, then Superboy, and Eradicator, both released this year. These are the 4 Supermen that replace Superman temporarily, which is based on the Reign of the Superman story arc. Let's go to Superboy, also known as Connor Kent or Con-El. He is a clone and was created by Cadmus using the DNA of Superman. He seems to have a square jaw which is not appealing to me. Plus, he already has a much older face. At least, they got the style of his haircut right. His jacket looks plasticky. There are no details on this to make it look like leather except for the wrinkles on his sleeves. I like the striking color of the Superman symbol on its back. The front part of his jacket is attached to his chest. The multi-purpose pouch is also nice to see. I just hope McFarlane added a sunglass. That will make this figure better. At least, generally, his design is very close to the comic version of the character. Then for his height, it is a common issue for McFarlane to have flaws in this aspect. So let's compare his height with Eradicator. As far as I know, Connor is not that tall. But as you can see here, they have the same height. Regardless of those comments, getting this is a personal requirement for me. Then, Eradicator. When I think of him, he has a totally light-colored face. But in one or some versions of him, he really does have a dark skin. Though this is not the version from the Reign of Superman. He has his signature goggles. His body type and costume look accurate from the comics, which is very good. And the way they created his stance, he looks badass. It gives a powerful aura, especially if you pose this right. But I have two concerns here. First is his cape. It's very much sided to his right. Then second, his hips. There is too much spacing. See? So you need to pose this very well to hide those flaws. Even at his back. Still, this is also a personal requirement for me to get. Then we have this one wearing the solar suit that I also purchased almost 2 years ago. Like I said earlier, apparently Superman was killed. During his absence, he was actually healing himself. This is when this figure comes in because it is nice. He will be displayed beside Superboy, Eradicator, and when Steel and Doomsday already arrive. The suit he is wearing absorbs more solar energy and consequently heals him faster. That is why people also call this a recovery suit. I just noticed that I'm also wearing the solar suit. This is a simple but aesthetically terrific figure. His bearded face looks realistic. His black costume with the silver emblem and the belt reflects light. It stands out from the others. It was colored well. This is a must-have because this suit became an important part of DC's continuity in regard to Superman's existence, plus the figure itself is very good. Next, this DC Future State version, released 2022. When Superman was imprisoned by Mongol in the latter's war worlds, Superman was forced to fight gladiator type, and that's why he looks like this. This is a work of art for me. The face looks realistic. The details on this are excellent. I'm talking about how McFarlane created this one. The design is exemplary. Even this damaged cape is perfect for me. I really like this figure. I'm also glad that they got his skin color correctly. This is not his normal skin color as we compare it to his other figures. But in the comics, this is accurate. It's also good that they included his axe and shield as his accessories. Now, arguably the strongest or one of the strongest versions of Superman, Superboy Prime. He's actually an evil version. He is based on the comics and one of the main characters in two of the best storylines in DC, which are Crisis on Infinite Earth and Infinite Crisis. This is a 2021 McFarlane release. He has the worst Superman costume I have seen in the comics or any medium, but a very colorful one. Again, based on the comics, McFarlane made him well, and the details of his costume are outstanding. This is a very clean figure. Since this is a 2021 release, there are a few figures that were created wherein their eyes are looking to the side instead of looking straight. And I really hate that. To name a few, Aquaman and Lex Luthor. His skin is very pale. Both his face and hands, but I don't mind. The cape is in a neutral position and I like it that way rather than it leaning to the sides. Lastly, there are the forgotten. There are TV animated series figure arcs from McFarlane that they started doing, but for one reason or another, they just stopped. I'm talking about the Teen Titans, Justice League, Batman animated series, the 7-inch, not the 6-inch scales, and Superman animated series. But for Batman and Superman animated series, they are prequels to Justice League, so let's just consider them as one. All of this started during the first year of McFarlane's DC Multiverse, which was the year 2020. And speaking of Superman animated series, this was one of its figures, the other one is the Flash. If you know how the creators of the show designed the characters, then you won't question the design of McFarlane. The body symmetry is not an issue because this is really the design. Let's take a closer look. The costume design is accurate. The reason why I use a base is because he has jelly legs. And this is a problem. I'm really having a hard time making him stand. It's too loose. His left leg is even bended. I love the animated show, so I'm dismayed by this figure. Another factor maybe is because the upper torso is bigger and heavier than the lower part. But I am glad I have this, especially since this is a hard to find figure. Anyway, I can just use the flight stand of other figures. It's better with the flight stand. I also have the Hush version, but I don't have any intention of opening this as of now. Like my Batman 1000. I'm going to cover this with plastic as well. So, if you enjoyed the video, click the thumbs up button, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to push that notification button since I publish new videos every week. Again, I am the Markman, thank you for visiting the Markverse, and always remember to pay it forward with kindness.